How's it going, guys? Honcho here, and yes, it's that time again. It is Patch Notes Day, my dudes. Yes, 8.1 is upon us. And wait, hang on. Where's the... It's Wednesday. 8.1 has been cooking for quite a while now and has had all kinds of information and snippets leaked over the past few months. But today, I can confirm exactly what is coming in this update, along with a whole bunch of changes and bug fixes. And just for you, here's a sneaky peek at what's coming in this update. Yes, this update brings with us a brand new faction, and that is the highly anticipated Western Private Military Contractors faction. But before I tell you any more about this update, make sure you hit that subscribe button, as a whopping 82% of my regular viewers are not subscribed. I'm aiming to hit 30,000 by the end of the year, so do yourself and me a favour by hitting that button. The Western PMC is an irregular independent faction that focuses on non-standardized modern infantry. Whilst they may lack some of the tools that other conventional forces have, such as heavy vehicles and heavy weaponry, they make up for it with speed, agility, and infantry firepower. And they have some very distinguishing features. Their primary colours and patterns are black and aftermarket camouflage. With them being an independent faction, that means they can come up against any other faction in-game. This faction can be deployed to any biome or map. They have a noticeable lack of heavy vehicles, lacking things such as infantry fighting vehicles and APCs, and this faction has a wide variety of modern and effective small arms. Now, they only have 3 battalions or divisions, whatever you want to call them, to choose from. The first is the Merc Water Air Wing, and this is their air assault. This unit prioritizes attacking from the air and is equipped with the new close air support Loach helicopter, which I'll get into a little bit more later on. Due to its focus on aerial operations, the unit lacks the M60T battle tank and M1151 anti-tank guided missile variants that the other WPMC units have access to. Next up is the Manticore Security Task Force, and this is your combined arms unit. This unit prioritizes controlling the battlefield through a mix of ground infantry and armoured vehicles. This unit has access to the M60 tank, the TOW and M2 variants of the M1151 armoured car, 3 helicopters, and more. And finally, the Overwatch Patrol Group, which is light infantry. This unit prioritizes using ground infantry to swiftly capture strategic objectives. This unit has access to 9 4x4 quad bikes, 2 armoured SUVs equipped with miniguns, the TOW variant of the M1151 armoured car, and more. And don't forget, with them being light infantry, that also means you get 4 heavy AT kits in your team. So keep in mind what you're up against and what map you're on before you go steaming headfirst into voting for them. But I suppose you'll want to know what equipment they get. Well, judging by this mustache, I think we're in for a great ride. We will start with the vehicles, and despite OWI stating that the PMCs wouldn't get any heavy vehicles, they found the need to squeeze in a tank, and to be fair, I think that kinda makes sense for the sake of balancing within the game. That tank is the M60T. Now, whilst the M60 isn't the most capable tank in squad, and it's certainly very lightly armoured, I think it helps fit within the faction. And the fact that other irregular factions, Insurgent and Militia, also get an outdated tank in the shape of the glorious T62. Next up is the Convoy Protection Car, a new light and agile vehicle exclusively for the WPMCs. The Convoy Protection Vehicle looks like a typical civilian SUV, but is highly modified to protect occupants whilst maintaining very fast on-road top speeds. This comes in 2 variants, an unarmed transport and a fire support variant, equipped with an open-top M134 minigun. And just listen to that V8 purr. But one of the main attributes of this vehicle is the fact that it will become the new clown car of Squad, as you can get a total of 10 infantrymen into this vehicle. I say into, there's 6 inside and 4 clinging on the outside for dear life. They also get the M1117 armoured car, which is the grandfather of the MRAP series of vehicles. It comes with a closed dual turret HMG and GMG, all wrapped inside of its mine resistant hull. They also get the M113A3 tracked APC, which is just a reskin version of the M113 that's currently in game. However, here's where it gets interesting. They also get a variant of this, which is a mobile spawn vehicle. Yes, this is essentially a drivable hab, very similar to what you see in Squad 44. This one asset here is going to be very important to your team, and very important for the enemy to find and knock out. I love the fact that they've brought something like this into the game because it gives this faction a real unique feature that can be very effective when used correctly. Other vehicles are the M939 trucks, which is the same as the main trucks that the US Army get, and the M1151 armoured car, which is basically just a Humvee painted black. These come armed with an M240, M2 and a tow launcher. They also get 2- and 4-seater modern technical trucks, which is essentially a reskinned Toyota Hilux. These come either as a transport variant or armed with M2s, mortars or a minigun. And to round this off, for helicopters, they get the Raven CH-146 utility helicopter, which is a reskinned and slightly modified version of the existing CH-146. Notice this has no doors. But the main one I think people will be excited for is this, the Loach. This new helicopter comes exclusively for the WPMCs, and in 2 variants. The first is the Scout variant, which has room for 1 pilot and 3 passengers, and the second is the Close Air Support variant, equipped with miniguns and dumbfire Hydra rockets. Now these things are very fast and agile, but I noticed these also don't have doors, so I'm wondering if it'll be easier to shoot out the occupants, including the pilot, as a means to balance out what can be a very powerful asset in the right hands. I have, however, noticed that there is a distinct lack of boats. But don't worry, I've got you covered on that because I have finally set up my merch store. You can now wear a shirt that brandishes some of Squad's greatest quotes, such as "enemy boat spotted" or "Squad is not a dating app." Or you can just let people know that you are a Scorpo enjoyer, or you can represent your favourite Squad server dead on dismount. I do plan to add more designs in the future, but for now, this is what I have. Okay, back to the patch notes, because I'm pretty sure you guys want to see the weapons these guys get, and oh boy, there's a lot. Now I'm just going to be briefly going through them all, as I do plan to have another video out, in which will be more of a deep dive into the PMC faction, where I can show things in much greater detail. First up is the M14 battle rifle. Chambered in 7.62, this is a tried and tested rifle of war and packs a serious punch. It has 3 variants: iron sight, an M68 optic, and the Moopold scope with a bipod. And if I have just mispronounced that, feel free to come at me in the comments. Next up is the MP5A3 SMG. Yes, the iconic MP5 is finally in Squad, and I can see this weapon becoming very useful in maps at 4 CQB. It comes with either iron sights or a Z-point optic, but this nasty little bastard is great fun. Moving on to the one that was leaked on Discord, the M320 grenade launcher, a compact, handheld 40mm grenade launcher capable of firing accurate rounds of HEDP and smoke grenades up to a range of 350 meters. Now they have a bunch of 5.56 weapons to play with. The first is the M4 Simon Offense carbine rifle, a custom M4 chambered in standard 5.56. This weapon uses the existing M4 upper receiver, but has a custom handguard and grip, with an extra compact front receiver. There's 4 optic variants: iron sight, EOTech, T800, and an ACOG. Next is the M4 Wormpool carbine rifle, another custom M4 carbine chambered in 5.56. This weapon uses the existing upper and lower receiver, but has a custom handguard and grip. 4 optic variants again with the irons, the EXPS optic, T800 optic, and an ACOG. Now for the first of the M16s, there's the Wormpool Assault Rifle. This is a custom M16 full-length assault rifle chambered in standard 5.56. This weapon uses the existing upper and lower receiver, but has custom handguards and grips. There's 5 optic variants of this. You've got Iron Sight, EXPS optic, T800 optic, ACOG scope, Moopold, and with a bipod. And then there's the M16 Wormpool CMAG. This M16 is equipped with a bipod and a 100 round CMAG, which turns it into a fully automatic squad support weapon. This thing is going to be nutty in tight areas. And next up, probably my favourite, but it's the AK-101 Pushco Assault Rifle. This is a custom AK-101 chambered in 5.56. This rifle uses a fully unique lower and upper receiver, as well as a unique handguard and grip, to give the rifle a completely unique look compared to typical AKs. There's 4 optic variants. You've got your Iron Sight, EXPS optic, the T800 optic, and an ACOG. And finally, the TW338 SWS Sniper Rifle. This bolt-action sniper rifle is from the same manufacturer as the Canadian Armed Forces C14, except this is the off-the-shelf variant with a no-D paint job and no front rail. This allows the PMCs to conduct long-range reconnaissance and harassment opportunities. So is this like a sniper rifle but from Walmart? There's a whole bunch of kits and roles that these weapons get spread through, but as I said earlier, I'll try and show that all in another video because it's just too much for this one. And finally, for the Commander, the PMC Commander has access to the handheld drone and heavy mortar barrage, similar to Militia and Insurgents, but it also has access to the F-16 rocket strike, which is similar to the Turkish land forces. The PMC Commander can also access these commander abilities next to vehicles as well as HABs, again similar to Militia and Insurgent. Now, being able to use these command assets by vehicles is an absolute must with a faction that's main ethos is being light and fast. And that's everything about the PMCs covered really. So now, we're moving on to some of the other additions to the game. The new after action report is being implemented. I covered this in my last video a few weeks ago, but what this adds is a whole load of new information at the end of the game. Not only does it show how many kills, deaths and revives you got, but it also highlights the best medic and Logi runner. There's also a new timeline that shows your team ticket count across the game with all major events on there showing, such as objectives captured or vehicles lost. There's also a more detailed screen showing exactly how many tickets each squad has gained and lost. Honestly, this is a great addition to Squad, especially for those who want to better themselves or just have a better understanding as to why they lost or won. And the next new feature is the addition of the Squid Bots seeding mod. Server admins can enable and configure these bots to provide a better seeding experience for players. When enabled, bots will take the place of the players who have not yet connected to the server. As more players fill up the server, the bots will gradually stop spawning. They have also replaced the bots within Jensen's range kill house with these newer and smarter bots as well for you to test your skills. Right, now we're moving on to some of the real information, and some of these changes are things that you really need to know about. But I'll tell you something else you need to know about. Back by popular demand, I am doing another clip competition. Yes, that is right. I want you to post your best squad clip right here in my Discord. Entries will be open till the 8th of October, and bonus points will be given for those whose clips will be from 8.1. There will be 3 winners again, 1 chosen by myself, 1 by the Dead on Dismount staff, and 1 chosen by you guys. Winners will get a t-shirt of their choice from my merch store and a weapon skin pack for Squad. So, what are you waiting for? Go get those clips and get them in my Discord right now. Okay, so the first big change is the change to capture zones and the speed in which they are captured at. Traditionally, you would get 5 chevrons with only 8 people. This was the fastest way to capture an objective, and that took about 77 seconds. Well, as of 8.1, this scales all the way up to 27 players. That's more than 50% of your team. For example, it will take 46 seconds with 18 players, and now 35 seconds with 27. It should be noted though that for some really daft reason, whilst they have adjusted the chevrons, the numbers don't make sense. You get 4 chevrons at 9 players and 5 chevrons at 15. So you'll probably be spending some time in the next coming weeks arguing with other idiots that 15 isn't in fact the maximum, because 27 is. A bit of an oversight if you ask me, so hopefully that's updated soon after this one. However, this should speed up backcapping, but I also feel this may impose a few problems. And the main ones will be the whole blob mentality and enemy teams rushing to take out these backcapping blobs. So I suggest for now you stay on your A game whilst backcapping, just in case a heli or a light vehicle comes looking for 50% of your team. For RAS and AS, it would make much more sense if it was capped at 16 players. That's 2 infantry squads. But for Invasion, having it up to 27 makes much more sense, as everyone is fighting over that same objective. And speaking of Invasion, there's been some changes there too. Attacking teams now start with 250 tickets instead of 200, and every point that is successfully captured will now give your team 130 tickets rather than the traditional 100. So I think now with the capping change and the ticket changes, I think things may have strongly swung into the attackers' favour. Another change they have made is they have given crewmen and pilots of the Middle Eastern Alliance the MPT-9. Oh, I have been asking for that for so long. The BMP-2M has also undergone a small change, as it has had the ammo reduced on its AGS launcher from a total of 300 rounds to 120, and the Mark 19 AGL has also seen a small nerf, having their ammo reduced to 32 rounds per belt. The Russian Ground Forces Mechanized Units has had a BMP-1AM removed from their lineup, and that has been taken and added to the Armoured unit. Right, now moving on to bug fixes, and there's some pretty big ones in here. They have fixed a long-standing bug where players could get indefinitely stuck in the ragdoll state after being run over by a vehicle. Now, we all like having a laugh running folk over in Maine, but from time to time, yeah, it used to suck if people got perma-stuck after being flattened. So it's nice to see this has finally been fixed. The iron sights on M4s and M16 have had their alignment issues addressed, and there's a huge one for tank players here. The laser rangefinder on tanks no longer max out at 1500 meters. If that is genuinely been a bug for the last 7 years, that has taken a very long time to fix. They've made several improvements to the alignment sway calculation, and now killing a player whilst they are priming an anti-tank mine or C4 will now successfully prevent the placement of the item as long as the animation hasn't finished. Now, this is a good change because, let's be honest, it was a huge exploit that even I myself used when running into vehicles or habs with C4. Oh, and the Martyrdom perk is back, as they have fixed a bug that could prevent a grenade from exploding correctly if the player was killed whilst cooking it. And that, my friends, is it. There's a bunch more smaller fixes and map tweaks that you can read in the full patch notes, which is in the description links down below. I would have loved to have released this video earlier, but due to my video containing patch notes, OWI instructed us partners to not release any videos containing them until the official patch notes were released, which is now, not Friday night. But if you made it this far, I would like to personally thank you all for the support and love that you've shown me over the past 2.5 years. It's what's kept me going through this journey, and I only plan on going one way, and that's upwards. But for now, thank you all for watching, take care, check out my merch, join my Discord, and share some badass clips. And I'll catch you in my next video, or in my server. Good night.